Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to This Just In. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about Lightning Emotors stock. This is definitely one of my favorite electric vehicle stocks that you can buy right now. Been invested in it for a long time and they just reported some record earnings. So I wanted to give you my thoughts as well as my Lightning Emotors stock price prediction for the end of 2021. So let's jump right in. All right, guys, before we get started today, subscribe to the channel for me. Remember to hit that little bell. That way you get notified every time I post a new video. There's also a link down in the top pinned comment to my Patreon account. Come over and join the family. We've got an awesome community over there. We've got 8 spots left down on that $10 tier, so if you've been considering it, definitely a time to jump in. That'll get you access to the private Discord where we talk stocks. You'll be able to check out my portfolio with all of my high conviction, like fundamental analysis plays. I also send out all of my swing trade setups. So where I enter, when I take profit, where my stop loss is at, so you know exactly what I'm doing when I do it. And then I send out my charts as well, and I usually illustrate them, which is extremely educational because then you can learn to identify what I look for. Guys, a plan in investing or a process is the most important thing to becoming a profitable trader or a profitable investor. So whether you're a long-term investor based on fundamental analysis or a short-term technical analysis, swing trader or want to become a swing trader, I think I got what you need over there. So definitely take advantage of it if that's something you're interested in. I think you will get a ton of value out of it. If you're not fully satisfied, I will give you a full refund, so you got nothing to lose. Day one squad, all the members that have been joining over the past week, I love you so much. Thank you for your support. But guys, I want to get started. Let's go ahead and talk about Lightning Emotors stock. They just posted some record earnings, and I wanted to go over that with you. Got me really excited, guys. For those of you that are new to the channel, Lightning Emotors is definitely one of my favorite electric vehicle stocks that you can buy right now. XPeng is my number one. For those of you guys that have been watching the channel, you know that XPeng is my number one favorite electric vehicle stock that you can buy. I even sold my Neo to add more to XPeng on the last drawdown because I like it that much more. I know a lot of people probably don't agree with that, but that's okay. I love XPeng and I think they're going to do very, very well. Now I like Lightning Emotors stock as my second favorite electric vehicle stock that you can buy because they're in a little bit of a different niche, right? They mainly focus on class 3 to class 6 vehicles, so like buses, delivery vans, things like that, where XPeng is more of the consumer, like daily driver cars, right? The other thing is like manufacturing, like XPeng manufactures all of their vehicles from the ground up, where Lightning Emotors has suppliers that they, get all of their pieces from. They are doing some manufacturing on like their chassis and their vehicle system, their drivetrains, but overall, they outsource most of their manufacturing. Now, the reason why I like that XPeng manufactures and Lightning Emotors doesn't is because they're just at two completely different stages of their business, and I like that Lightning Emotors doesn't have to go through those manufacturing growing pains at such a small stage of their company. Guys, Lightning Emotors is a baby. It is a very small company, very small delivery number, but I think they are the most underrated, under the radar electric vehicle stock out there right now, and they will eventually wake up, and I think they are super overlooked, especially when you see so much hype going into like Workhorse and Nikola and some of these other companies that are way behind Lightning Emotors, in my opinion. Guys, Lightning Emotors has a massive backlog, massive pipeline. They're constantly signing partnerships. I feel like they're the ones that are constantly out there grinding, improving their business, moving forward as a company, when a lot of these other companies, I feel like they're out there just tooting their horn, trying to be popular versus profitable. Now, that's probably not the case. Obviously every company wants to become better, but with that being said, I do think Lightning Emotors is the company that is going to do very well over those other ones that we've mentioned. So With that being said, guys, I want to jump in and I want to take a look at their earnings reports. We'll hit the highlights. I won't bore you with the whole thing. Then we'll take a look at the chart, the recent price action, and I will give you my Lightning Emotors stock price prediction from now till the end of the year. So, first thing we're going to look at, guys. So this is just kind of their press release from the earnings report. This is what they actually did as far as like EPS and revenue. You can see that their Q3 GAAP EPS was negative 67 cents. So they missed by like 50 cents. That's a big miss, guys. As far as revenue goes, they did 6.3 million, which was a beat by 870,000. So guys, again, very small revenue, 6 million in a quarter, only beat by 870,000, not anything insane, but nonetheless, it's still growing. They still beat revenue is what we want to see. Now, as far as the press release, this is where we can kind of look at some of the highlights, and this is where it gets exciting. You can see here, guys, record 9-month revenues of 16.8 million, increased 212% year over year. Now, obviously, when they're going from like next to nothing to, a little bit of something, it's not as impressive if they're going from, 200 million to 400 million or 600 million, but nonetheless, they're still growing, they're still selling vehicles, they're still signing partnerships, and that's what we want to see. Now, I will point out this. They did miss on EPS, right? But you gotta keep in mind, there was a big supply chain constraint, right? There's a big shortage on semiconductors, which is obviously going to hold them up. It's obviously going to, hinder their ability to, perform. Now, I do think that is going to really start to ease. They did just announce that they had record tally on their actual supply constraints. And I think that they're going to be able to get past that, especially with the Proterra deal that they came out with and the chassis that they're going to be developing. Next thing, guys, is record third quarter revenue of 6.3 million, which was an increase of 65% year over year. Record third quarter sales of 43 zero emission vehicles, which increased 43% year over year. And then they also announced that they're entering into the electric school bus space with a multi-year agreement with REV Group. Guys, they have so many partnerships. The next thing is they entered into a long-term battery supply agreement with Proterra. Check this out, guys. You can see right here, Tim Reeser, he's a really good CEO, guys. I just want to point out a couple things here. They began deliveries on their agreement with Forest River, which has a potential value of up to 850 million, and expect to deliver additional zero-emission shuttle buses throughout the end of the year. And then they've got this one right here. That is the bus agreement that includes an initial firm order commitment worth around 11 million to deploy over 100 all-electric Type A school buses across the U.S. and Canada throughout 2023. Then the double deckers. Now, one thing I wanted to show you. So these are all the partnerships, guys. You can see here the one with Forest River, the one with Rev Group, the partners with ABB to provide DC fast chargers. Lightning Emotors and Ricardo signed strategic partnership to provide commercial electric vehicles to the United Kingdom customers. They are really popular with the California transit agencies. They're supplying them with a lot of their buses and delivery vehicles. They're doing really good, guys. They're signing a ton of partnerships. And the reason why we can tell that they're doing well, because if we drop down here and we take a look at their pipeline and their backlog, as of September 3rd or 30th, 2021, the company had an order backlog including full vehicle powertrain system conversions and powertrain systems to be sold directly to customers and charging systems of approximately 1,617 units, valued at 171.4 million, up 72% from the year prior. The increase in the order backlog, comprised of non-binding agreements and purchase orders from customers, reflects continued robust demand for the company's vehicle conversions, powertrain systems, analytics, and telematics subscriptions. For those of you guys that have not seen the channel and have not seen my previous videos about Lightning Emotors, I will post those right here above. In my last video, I talked about how their software system, their telematics system, is a really, really interesting part of their business that could generate a very, very consistent recurring revenue model. It's high margin. It's pretty much like a software business. And I think that that's going to be huge for them. The other thing, guys, that I really like Lightning Emotors is because they're not just a full from the ground up new build of brand new vehicles. They also electrify the conversion kits, guys. So people can take their entire fleet that used to be internal combustion engines and convert them over to electric. That gets them tax credits. It gets them cheaper, cost of goods because they're running around delivering at a lower cost. Very, very important for small businesses that have big fleets that are relatively new, in good shape, and don't want to have to buy a whole new fleet of electric vehicles. Gives them the ability to switch to electric with keeping the same vehicles they already have. Very important. Next thing, guys, is the company's sales pipeline. It remains strong at 1.319 billion, guys, and it is expected to grow further due to favorable news at the local, state, and federal level that suggests broad support for commercial fleet electrification, as well as an expanding sales force. Sales pipeline may not be indicative of future sales and can vary significantly from period to period. So all I want to point out, guys, is in their investor presentation at the beginning of the year, their backlog, or their pipeline, was around 800 million. Now it's at 1.319 billion. So they're doing a very good job at getting new partnerships, filling up their pipeline, converting to backlog. They're just killing it, guys. And I think that where their stock price is at today, if you can be patient and accumulate your position over the course of the next couple of years, I think Lightning Emotors will be a $40 to $60 stock within 3 to 4 years. And I think that after that, they could potentially end up being one of the bigger electric vehicle companies, out of all of these other guys. I just feel like they're the sleeper that are super under the radar. Nobody's paying attention to, but they're the ones that are actually getting it done. They're the ones that are actually doing a solid business and moving forward where a lot of these other companies are not. Last thing, guys, is just their guidance. I wanted to point out this down here. You can see here that they had to push off. Over the course of the last 45 days, we have pushed out over 60 expected vehicle sales from the fourth quarter into 2022 due to supply chain disruptions with our chassis and other component suppliers. We continue to experience supply chain challenges as we are reliant on a number of different suppliers for our components. So they had to push those out until next year, but what that means is it's going to be a lump of orders that are already sitting there in 2022 that they can collect that revenue on. So it may not show up on Q4, but it will show up in 2022. So again, guys, you give this company a little bit of time to grow. You get them, a couple earnings reports under their belt. You get them, the ability to start pushing out vehicles. And I think they're going to hit that point where growth really ramps up. Like it really starts to accelerate. They nail everything down. They get through the growing pains and they kind of get their process, zoned in. So last thing, guys, I just wanted to show you this. Lightning Emotors gains after reporting record production tally. Again, very, very strong, guys. You can see that the partnership with Proterra, it's going to cut their costs and, have much better visibility into their actual supply chains and not have to worry about getting shut down so much with those constraints. But let's jump over and take a look at the earnings or the investor presentation. Guys, I just wanted to point this out. We've looked at this before, but this is from their investor presentation, like clear back when they first launched as a SPAC. Just look at this revenue growth, guys. This is what we are looking forward to. This was their pipeline back in September 2020 at 800 million. The backlog at 150 million. It's at 170 million, and I think that's actually changed a little bit. Some of the earnings have been revised down, but look at this, guys. I mean, they were guiding for 63 million here in 2021. The supply chains did kind of hurt them on that, and they had to cut that back to, I think, about 43 to 50 million, something like that. So it is a little bit lower, but even if you took, quite a bit off, even if you use the green numbers, just the commercial EVs, from 46 to 249 to 457, 837, and 1.457 billion. Huge, guys. And I think that this is what I am so excited about for Lightning Emotors is they're proving that they can do business, they can get vehicles out there, they can sign partnerships, and I'm willing to put a little bit of faith in that. Obviously, guys, I'm not, super keen on investing into a lot of these like skeptical, total like blind companies that don't have revenue, or, we have no idea if they're actually going to grow because the industry can potentially be huge. Like, just because electric vehicles are the future doesn't mean that every electric vehicle company is going to be a winner. I'm a young dude. I can take risks. You know, it doesn't bother me to get a little bit of risk in my portfolio. And if I'm going to take a risk, Lightning Emotors is the company that I want to do that with. So, last thing, guys, let's jump over and take a look at the chart. The last video I made on this stock, guys, the chart looked really bad. Like back here, the chart was not looking good. And then it, you know, found its bottom, created a double bottom. You know, now it's getting that momentum shifting structure. You know, it just flat dumped. You know, it reached that high point back here in January 21st, literally the same day that PaySafe and most of the other SPACs found their high before dumping. And like we talked about, March lows, rally, dump, past its mid-March lows, which happened to also be that NAV price of $10. So once it fell past there, guys, the trading your shares in for, you know, the $10 NAV price pre-merger, you know, was no longer, it had merged. Sorry. So you could no longer get that $10. There was no longer that floor, that safe. It dumped, tried to retest it, back tested it as resistance. Okay. So a level that was once support is now confirmed to market participants that it is now resistance. Dumps again, finds a bottom, rallies, finds it again as resistance, dumps, resistance again. So you get a double top, dumps again. Now it finds support at a slightly higher level than it did previously in May. So you had your double bottom, and then look what happened on that big partnership with Berkshire Hathaway, the $850 million deal. Boom, massive gap up. And look where it hit, guys. It literally opened up above the inflection point, rallied, gets rejected, creates a supply line, and dumps. Very next day, dumps, tries to hold support at the zone of inflection before breaking down, retesting it as resistance for 2 more, 3, 4 more times, dumping again. However, it has created higher lows every time it is sold off after testing the inflection zone. So big gap, dump, higher low than the previous low. Exactly what we want to see. Rally, dump makes a lower high than the previous high. Dumps makes a higher low, second low, confirmation, and now it is pushing back up to get at that inflection zone again. Now, guys, notice where the moving averages are around these areas when it tested the inflection zone. You know, right at it, you know, pointing down. Now you're starting to get those moving averages to where they're really starting to get into a position where if the price can break it, it can get up underneath it, and you can start to see them separate and get into a sustained uptrend. This wouldn't have been a very sustained uptrend right here. You know, it gaps clear up, starts to rally. That's not really a sustained uptrend. It had a double bottom, sure, but I would rather see it sell off, just create more accumulation, you know, more market participants confirming that, yes, this is an area of true support at the inflection zone. You know, now that we have gotten rejected, tested it so many times as resistance, made hot, clear higher lows, you know, formed double hidden bullish divergence to create a continuation. I would love to see it breach the not only supply line, but also the inflection zone around the same times, which would also be breaching the 200-day moving average. All of those things confluent in one area, guys, is going to create a really nice move to the upside. I think Lightning Emotors is impending a nice move to the upside, but we've got to get above the inflection zone, guys. Anywhere from $9.45, $9.50 to $10, we have to get above that. What I would like to see is it break it, back test it. I wouldn't even mind if we broke it, dumped below it, and then sprung back test to spring before rallying again. You know, we just got to see something like this. You know, anything like, or even, let me scratch that. Something like this would be my ideal situation. It rallies, comes back, tests the bottom of the zone, rallies again, tests the top of the zone before heading to much higher prices. That's what I would like to see ideally. Guys, I think once we get over 10 bucks, 1365 to 412 is the price target. This little, you know, 1213, I think it'll have no problem breaching through that. I think our main level after $10 is 1412 at the high end, 1365 at the low end. Once we break that zone, then we're headed right to 1655, which is the all-time candle high close, initial all-time candle high close. Then after that, we're looking at, the all-time high at $17.30. Guys, I really do think that this could usher in a really nice sustained uptrend in Lightning Emotors. If we want to break out the harmonic and see a potential complex wave structure, we could see something like this, be ushered in. And it would be technically a bullish bat pattern, which would go to the 886, which would be confluent with the top level up here, the initial all-time candle high close and the initial wick high from back here in December. It also could maybe see a 786, which would be a little bit lower. It would be a bullish Gartley instead of a bullish bat pattern, which would put it somewhere around there, but it just doesn't make as much sense. I mean, there is this candle high close that puts it right on, but I just think that the top end makes a little bit more sense. We haven't made a 61% retrace on the X to A, XAB, the retrace of X to A, which your bullish Gartley usually make a 61% retracement here. And a lot of the times they even go to the 886 on the C to D leg. So something to keep in mind, guys. That's a complex wave structure, and I absolutely think that's what we could be seeing. You could also even look at this thing as a dragon. So you could look at it like this. A dragon, again, is just a complex wave structure. You've got your it's the same thing, W formation. You've got your head, your body or your neck, your hump, first leg, second leg, or foot, whatever you want to call it, and then it's forming the tail right now. You typically take the trade, once the tail breaks the supply line from the head. So just something to keep in mind, guys. Obviously, multiple different scenarios. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. All we have to do is just wait for some follow-through price action to see what happens at this level. It's either going to get rejected and dump back down to, 756, 713, or it's going to breach it while it breaks the supply line, the 200-day moving average. The hidden bullish divergence is going to play out. It's going to back test the top of the zone, and it's going to run. We'll just have to wait and see. If you do not own it, you don't buy here. You wait to see if it breaks this level and back tests it, because if it doesn't, you're not going to sit right here. You're going to come back down to the next level of critical support. So, just wait, guys. Be patient. Let the trade come to you. You either break it, you buy it here, or you wait and you buy it here after you get, confirmed support that it's holding these levels. So, that's what my thoughts are, guys. I honestly think for my price prediction on Lightning Emotors stock, I actually think we could see $14 by the end of this year. So this video is for entertainment purposes only, guys. I'm not a licensed stockbroker. Always do your own research and due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree with my analysis? If you have your own price target on Lightning Emotors, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Come join us at the Patreon if you want to be part of an amazing family. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you all. Peace.